Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching. Just let me just sort out my phone and hopefully it'll tell me that I have gone live properly. Always takes a bit. Aha, there we are. That has decided to go live. So let me just share this. Oops, not that one. Not that one. I want to share. Now, let me just sort this out. As we're a little bit ahead of 5 or 2, ahead of 6 o'clock. So, and then we can concentrate on what we're doing. There we are. Hopefully that has shared. And I can click on that. Good evening, Julie. Hi, Jan. We're a little bit early, so we just need to bear with. I'm going to take my glasses off, and it's quite bright in here. As you can see, it's a gloriously sunny day, and we are going to have a little bit of fun. So we might not do masses of creating, but we'll see where the spirit takes us. So, hi Tracy, hi Faith, hi Elizabeth. It's lovely to see people coming in and joining. Let me just do a little bit of shenaniganing with the... There we are. Cool. So, there we are. Let me just pop that over there. The reason for that one will become evident. And let's just pop these down. So, there we are. While we just wait for the clock to tick round a little bit more. Excuse the mucky bottles because I got one set to play with, and I'm a mucky crafter, as we all know. I did. Hi, Josine. I did share a snapshot of these to my page the other day once Pentart had announced that they had them. So I think let's just wait a little bit more. I'm really not sure at the time. Let me flick that one over there, and then I might... Oh, that's better. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for joining us. Now I can see what we're doing. That's always a goodly start. Exciting. Hi, Sam. Hi, Jan. Sam, you'd be glad to know the medium that I was waiting for arrived at 3:15 this afternoon. There is a long story for that. So the clock on my computer is now saying it's 6 o'clock. Hi, Rosa. Welcome. Welcome. I have to say that Aliko showed these on Tuesday night on a live, and where she did some little things with them, but I'm going to explain these for our English speaking viewers. As you know, I am part of the creative team at Pentart, so I've actually had these sitting on my desk for about a week, though one of the mediums didn't come out with my first pack, and then the overnight delivery one wasn't correct when it arrived, and which I discovered on Monday, and the correct fluid, because it's not really a fluid, arrived at 3:15 this afternoon. So hey ho, it's all designed to keep life interesting, I feel. But there we are. Hi Sheila. Hi. So Pentart for this summer have got the mediums I've got here, another one I'm going to show you now, and a third one which hopefully will launch fairly soon, but has been promoted on some of their lives. So we have a range of beautiful boutique colours. So I'm going to go with the colours first. So these are very liquid, and if you need to shake them, before you use them, and you should be able to hear that there is a little ball inside them, and that's just to agitate all of the fluid and make sure it's all thoroughly mixed before we use them. So we have a black, which is really useful for creating shades and darkening our colours, a brown for giving vintage shoes, this beautiful bright red, an orange, a yellow, a green, more turquoisey green than green, but actually a really good colour for colour mixing and shading, because you can make a classic green, of course, with the yellow and with the blue. And then I know my rainbow really doesn't have pink at this end, but we've got a magenta, and I've popped it there because actually our three primary colours are in fact yellow, blue and the magenta, as they are in our printer inks. And if you want to make a nice purple, it's the magenta and blue that need to be mixed together, not the blue and the red, which makes a not so pleasant colour. Still very usable, but not such a, it's just not such a nice colour. So those are the colours, as I say. They are very liquid, far more liquid than any the paints that fabric Pentart do, and they are way more colour intense than the fabric medium misks. So let me just pop those up out of the way along the back, and then let's come to the next one. So the next medium is this one. Let me lift it up. So it clearly says medium batik, so it goes with the batik paints, and it's a lightener. Hi Sylvia, thank you for joining us this evening. I'm looking forward to your live tomorrow. So this is really the key to making lots of pale colours. So you can make tones by adding your black, and you can make shades by adding the white, or the lightener. But I don't think it's actually a white, but it definitely functions as a lightener and will allow you to make really pretty pastel colours. So that's those. Our next medium is the masking medium, and this is the one that caused me masses of heartache and only arrived just before the show. So this is a gel consistency. Hi Christina. So let me squash it down. There we are. You can see that it's really quite gel-like. And this is the masking medium. So you can draw your batik lines or imagery on with that, and it will hold its dimension. If I tip this, it's dimensional. And this will act, then you let it dry, and it goes from this almost opaque colour to almost invisible on the fabric when it's dry, and it certainly loses its shiny appearance when it's dry. Or you can pop it through a stencil, and once it's dried, you can then add your batik paints over it, and the areas that are protected by the masking gel will not be dyed. I haven't had a lot of time to experiment, but I've got some plans, so maybe some different lives. Hello, Batik MOC. Welcome to the live. So those are the products that I have. Oh, I know promoted on some of the Pentart lives videos have been some is a fabric hardener, but that hasn't been sent out to the creative team yet. So when that is around, I'm sure there'll be lots of us doing lives with them. So what have I been up to? Playing beavering behind the scenes. So because rather than going live and not knowing where I'm going, I've had a little play. So that you need to work with fabrics that are cotton and definitely have no more than 20% of synthetic fibres in them for these to be working and effective. So this is just a pair of cheap socks from one of the local supermarkets, fits the description, and this has solely been coloured with this paint, the magenta. And by mixing it in with the lightener and adding water and spraying, you get, I've just got myself a set of ombre, sort of spotty, irregular socks that are very functional. Now, to set these mediums and to make them washproof, you can do one of two things. You can let them dry naturally for 24 hours and then iron them. But you need to make sure every bit of the piece that's got paint on it has been ironed with a cotton heat on the iron for at least 5 minutes. And that's quite time consuming if you have a big piece, but it's worth it. The alternative, which is what I've chosen to do to make my cute little onesie and coordinating hat, was to actually just lay them as flat as I could in a non-fan oven whilst they were wet. Let them dry at 150 degrees centigrade. So in the UK, that is gas mark 2. Let them dry in the oven and keep them at that temperature once they're dried for 10 minutes. So, and then these are washable at 40 degrees. So those are just dipped and then the water run. You can use these for tie-dyeing. So I have a little girl's dress here. Again, it's a cotton t-shirt dress, and all I did was literally fold it up, put some elastic bands round, and then drip my colours on. And I've got a very pale pink, which is very difficult to see, and that bright pink, and just let it spray. And I use that on damp material. Let me come back to this. Now, I know lots of you will have tie-dyed as children. It was something that escaped me. So I'd never done any tie-dyeing in my life. Let me just lift this up a little bit. But I've had a go at tie-dyeing, and these are undiluted colours. So this is the red, the yellow, and the orange undiluted with a bullseye tie-dye effect. And what I would say is that all you need to do is Google how to tie-dye, and it will show you lots and lots of different patterns on how to make different effects. I found them easily enough from there. And then I had some direct painting. This is on a little purse. And you can add on top of these any of the other fabric paints that need heat setting. So these have just been painted with on top with a thicker paint. So this is the blue mixed with lightning. This is the green, and the green mix with the yellow to give me the lima green ferret, and the white is actually a proper white fabric paint, and the yellow is also a white fabric and leather paint from Pentart. And then I have, hello Barbara, used a textile marker which Pentart have in their brand. If you want them, they sell packs of them, but are equally fairly easy to use and have instructions on them. So I've done that on there just to add a little bit more detail, and you can get them in lots of different colors. So here we are. So this is just a little banner that we've made, ombreing our colours, to adding some stenciling to show that you don't just need to do these for fabric, for clothes designs and textiles that you might use. You can also use them to make decorative wall hangings. And here we've got some resist, making my clouds, and then shades all from this bright blue added to make the sky and the sea. So lots of versatility for these. The only other thing to say, this is the I think this is the black and brown mixed together, just in a little bag, added over the top. So this is the brownie colour. It is brown. We've got our red, orange and yellow there, and we've got a brown with some gold over the top there. So lots of variations. And this is the blue, this is the red, and this is the colour you get when you mix the blue and the red, which is why I'm saying you need the magenta and the blue to make a pretty purple. Okay, and the other thing to say, let me just grab a piece that we're going to, I've got one more piece that may or may not show up on that, and this is still wet because, as I say, I had a quick run of this beforehand. So I've used the same paints, the same mediums. Let me just fold this. And there we are. So if I shade it, you can see that I've got some areas there amongst my very pale colours, and this seriously is as how pale as you can go. And I've got a resisted pattern. I've got a piece that will do with some brighter colours, so the resisted really does work with that. So let me just pop that somewhere because it really does need to dry, because that one is still very, very wet. And then, because I don't like waste, these are my mop-ups, and these are just dried up baby whites, wet whites, and you can die cut these or cut them with a pair of scissors, making them into leaves and flowers by layering them up. So that's my plan for those. So even if I've got these out, I'm not going to waste them. So lots of different uses. Now then, so I've got a couple. We're going to run out of room today. It's going to be like one of those days. So I've got a little, a cheap bag here. It's a very cheap bag. I'm not going to use the black and the brown at the moment, so let's put those out of the way. And I have literally just drawn some arcs because I thought we'd have a little bit of a play just to show you the colours, and I'm going to talk your way through how to do it. So the only preparation you need to do is your fabric needs to have been washed and dried, but with no fabric conditioner. And if these are really fluid, so the fluid will go through. Thank you, Christina. I have got a plastic bag, the full width of here in there. I like that very much. And as I say, it was just very much a question of playing, learning to how these would work. And I thought, we've got rainbow colours, so why not make a rainbow? Because that seemed to me to be logical. Now you can this is completely dry. You can add these onto damp material or onto completely dry material. If you put it onto dry material, which is what I'm going to do now, because I can make it damp at any stage, then it's reasonably well behaved and doesn't move so very much, she says, with it dripping off the side of the table onto her toes. But that's not really the look I'm wanting. I'm wanting this to spread. So let me just give this a jolly good squidge with some water, and you can see it wicking through the material. I'm going to make sure these are wet. So that is the red. You can see how just how vibrant it is, and I can now spread this out to give. It's never going to be a perfect arch because of the nature of spreading the paint, but it will work enough for me to have a faux. You see, and then you split you drop red everywhere. Hey, there we are. So then you can make these, yeah, add some more colour as you wish to. Now, I'd given these a good shake before the live, and then on as I'm explaining how to do that. So we can just literally pop them on, let the colours merge and add, and it will stay. If you add lots of water, obviously you thin out your pigment, but it will work for you. So that is a bright red. Though I have to say that on my little screen it now looks very orange, but hey ho, this is the orange. There we go. You can see just how fluid these are. So let's just spread this out. And where they join, they will merge, because that's the nature of the beast. But then when we've got a natural rainbow, that's what they do, isn't it? They merge together. So let me just a little bit more there. Tie-dye quilt. Yeah, okay. I don't think I will be going to that extreme, Sam. I'm not a fabulous sewer, as we all know. So let me just mop up where I splodged that red, because otherwise we're going to have some contaminated colours. There we are, we'll fade that out a little bit. So that is the orange, and now I think you can say that they are two different colours. There we are. Let me just wipe the orange off my... And so these will merge because because they're wet, and that's fine. And obviously when you're not on a live, you can take as much time as you want, but the lives are not quite so forgiving when it comes to time. You're dying to get your hands on them. Wow, I have a feeling I might currently be the only person in the UK with them, and I have no idea who is or isn't going to be stocking them. But I do agree that I think they are fab. Let's just take that over there. So red, orange, yellow. You see, it does help if you're not a mucky mare. There we are. Green would be our next colour, wouldn't it? Of the rainbow. So there we are. Oh dear, that wasn't quite what we wanted to do. Okay, let's just lift most of that off there. Oh, she says making a right flipping mess. But never mind, it won't be a problem. We'll add a bit more green, yellow over there, and just, you see, she says, squishing everything. So I think this might have been a better idea on a flatter surface, but we'll get the idea. So you can see what I mean by this being a more turquoisey colour than perhaps a leafy green. And I don't think I'm going to be able to rescue that bit, but hey ho, we'll try. So we're going to have an interest. So if we do this, we're going to have a different shade there where it joins. And we'll add a little bit more green. It's because my surface isn't completely flat, and it's going to do the same. So we can then, as I say, they'll ombre together. And you can get more of an ombre if you add more water to the piece. So that is our green. But you can imagine the children in the summer having a whale of a time doing this, I think. Let me see if I can add a bit more yellow into here. Make that a little bit more yellow. There we are. I am being generous with these, but hey ho. There we are. So, there we are. Red, orange, yellow, green. And the gloves is possibly prudent, but you all know that I don't like gloves. So there we are. And this is really to show you all of the colours. You're driving over right now. Yeah, well done on getting your car. There we are. She says, so I think you really can have a lot of fun. Might not be the most elegant of rainbows, but actually by the time it's dried, it will, and the colours have moved together, I think it will be okay, because these will carry on moving until the fabric has dried. There we are. So we talked about the the purple. They absolutely move. There is you cannot do this and be a complete control freak. It is not my comfort zone. I have to say, it is so not my comfort zone. Now then, I happen to know from past experience that the blue is very dark, and I want a nice purple shade. And you think, well, you're only adding a tiny, tiny bit of that into there, and that's more of a violet. So I might keep that as my violet and grab another. I've got lots of medicine pots, and do a second one with some more because I quite like that colour. So because you've got the separate colours and the primaries, you can now quite happily make yourself a really nice vibrant purple. So we have a nice, really nice rich purple and an violet and indigo. So hopefully we'll just get rid of that, give that a squish. We'll take one of these. So you can colour mix. There we are. See, that really is a bright purple. And it's possibly, I think, easier to control them if you pop them into a pot. Because clearly I'm adding less at any one time from there. Put the lid on, Jill. Thank you, Sam. Yes, that would be the next move, she says. It absolutely would be. So what I would say again, if you're doing things like this, because this isn't exactly precise in any way, shape or form, but if you try and mix enough for your project in one go, because it's not completely guaranteed that you'll be able to mix exactly the same colour a second time around. But there we are. So we can colour mix them. Yeah. So you can mix these to your heart's content. But as I say, if you, I will mix you up, and now we've got a pinkier colour here. And then I can add some pale blue to the other areas. There we are. So let's just say it will, you know, these are going to merge and move because it's wet. There we are. So you can see we've got a real nice rainbow of colours where I haven't mixed them up with my mucky mitt, and also where we're allowing them to grade through by colour mixing them. So the number of colours allows you to mix an infinite number of colours to suit yourself. My ring light is very good for drying things on, so just let me stick these up there for drying and grab a clean thing. Okay, so hopefully we've gone wet into dry into wet. We've done all of them dry. We'll let those merge on their own, and we've done some colour mixing to show you that you can blend your colours. So earlier on I talked about making that now needs to lie flat. Excuse me. I'll stick that over there. Yeah, making paler colours. So this is that pink and the purple mix that I added together. And this is the lightning fluid. Now the lightning fluid comes in several sizes, in a couple of sizes. So what I would again say to you is that if this is something that you like, I would buy the bigger size, because I think for me, you will go through masses of the lightning if you're wanting the softer colours. If you're just wanting lots of bright, then actually it doesn't matter. I've got stuff everywhere. Let me just mop some of this up, because otherwise we're going to have that there. So I have, and I'm not worried about this getting mucky. This is just a t-shirt, a serviette. Came from one of the cheap stores in the UK, and I have added through a stencil some of the masking medium, and I've done that because it needs to dry. So remember when I earlier on I lifted it and it was thick, and you can see that even on a white surface. When it's dry, I can see where I've added it. I can almost feel where I've added it, but it's actually very difficult to see from there. They are incredibly strongly pigmented. Now I want this to move, so I'm just going to, and remember ladies, these are demo pieces, so just to show you techniques as much as anything else. Now, what you will find is that the masking fluid, even once it's dried, when you start adding liquid to it, will go slightly tacky, and that's very normal. So don't you worry. There we are. Okay, so if I add this onto here, you can now, I think, see that I have a pattern on here. Now I don't think I want it all in bright purple. We could go all of this nice indigo color, but I'm thinking that we might choose to change this up a little bit. Now if I add yellow into that to make an orange, actually I'm going to make a brown, because I'll have all three of my primary colors. So at this point I'm actually going to take some of my lightning medium, and this is the way I would strongly advise, if you're looking for paler colors, that you want me to use yellow. Okay, I can do the yellow. There we are. If you're wanting to lighten a color down, then add your petite medium, the lightener, it says lightener on the bottom, into your pot first. These are 80ml tubes, so there's a lot. And bear in mind, I've just had one set, and I've made all of my samples with these, and I'm carrying on. So I'm just going to add literally 1 drop into there, and I've got a beautiful, beautiful, very subtle pale yellow. So that's how pigmented they are, because I've got maybe 5 mils of the masking of the lightening medium in there, and just 1 drop of my colour. Again, so that's now 2 drops of my colour, and I think that's quite a nice shade of yellow. Again, I think camera wise it's not so obvious, so let's just add another 2 just to make it a little bit brighter from there. And if I pop this onto here, bear in mind that where the pink and the yellow merge, we're going to have, we will naturally form some, some yellow or some orangey tones over time. There we are. So let's just let this all fiddle around. Let's say these are the whole purpose of this was really to be able to show that we've got different ways of adding, different color mixes, and different abilities to control and mix what we're doing together. And you can be as controlled or as free or as or as light-handed as you want to be to create whatever you want. I want to merge some of these colours. I'm just going to give this a jolly good spritz, which will help spread it out a little bit more. And I'm going to mop over my resist reasonably carefully, because I've got resist lines here. Now, there is one of the things that, depending on how much resist fluid you've got, it will depend on the extent of the resist. There we are. So we now have a butterfly and some lines and some circles and some swirls, and I can carry on adding colour as I want to, and cover the whole piece if that's what I want to do. But I don't like waste, so we'll just pop these bits into here. I might not use all of that magenta for the moment, and I'm going to be a good girl and lid my yellow. So, okay, so these can just literally mix and merge, sit them on the side and do their own thing until they're dried. And you could take this out and over the whole piece if you wanted to. The choice is really up to you. So let me just pop that on a non-existent bit of the floor. There we are. As Anthony says, multiple stories to my craft room. So ladies, that is a quick presentation and a little bit of an idea of some of the things that you can do with the latest of additions to the Pentart family. So we have, just as a recap, carmine, red, orange, yellow. By doing this, I'm making sure I've got my lids on proper. Green, blue, magenta. We have a black, and we have a brown. We have our lightning fluid, and we have our masking gel medium. And coming soon will be a fabric hardener. That has already been announced, so I'm not letting any cats out of the bag. So I have no idea which shops in the UK, if any, will be getting them. Time will tell, but they are lovely. I've had lots of fun experimenting. There will be more lives with them over the next month or so. So hopefully it's been useful for you to see what they are and just give you a sense of some of the things that you can do with them. I have literally just tipped my toes in the water, and there are masses and masses of options, particularly when you add in things like your fabric pen, where you can draw your image, loosely paint, watercolor effect style, and just let the dyes and inks move, or do properly batik style painting if that's what you want. Sarah, I have no idea whether yes, you could do white canvas shoes. The only headache with your white canvas shoes is getting them dry, and the fabric setting. You would need to, they need to be ones that you could put in the oven at 150 degrees centigrade to dry them out and to set them properly. But in theory, I don't see why, because most fabric shoes components will survive that temperature reasonably well. But you do need to heat set them, and once they are heat set, you can absolutely dunk them in the wash. And in fact, once they're heat set, even if the masking medium will then wash off completely, but don't wash it off with water until you have heat set them first. So ladies, that is all from me tonight. It's an extra live for me because of being asked to talk through the new mediums. I have to say that's a real privilege from Pentart, and I will almost certainly see you back on a live next month, if not sooner. Bye bye for now.